Betrayed, my wife and best friend's secret pregnancy destroyed my family. The silence hangs heavy now, thicker than the humid air of my empty apartment. I'm staring at the same four walls that once held so much promise, so much love. Now, all I see are the ghosts of shattered dreams and the bitter taste of betrayal. You're not going to believe the twisted mess my life has become. Evelyn and I were, to put it simply, perfect. Or at least, that's what I thought. We dated for a couple of years before tying the knot 6 years ago. Evelyn was a vibrant, ambitious woman, a true extrovert, someone who knew exactly what she wanted. I was completely smitten. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until she started acting weird. It all started subtly around Jenna's graduation. Jenna, my sweet, introverted sister. She was marrying Max, a guy I never quite understood. He was my brother-in-law. But truthfully, I always felt he was beneath her. My sister wasn't an extroverted person. Sometimes I'd even mention how Jenna deserved better than him, which made me feel bad. Anyway, Evelyn and Max seemed to be forming some kind of friendship. As for Eve and I work overseas in the merchant marine, so I'm usually overseas for around 7 months, and home for the rest of the time. I feel it put a strain on our relationship. When I was home, Evelyn was often out partying, hosting house parties. I never voiced my annoyance, not wanting to hurt her feelings. My last vacation at home was anything but pleasant. Evelyn and I fought. Sometimes it was over silly things. Sometimes over much deeper issues. I'll get to that eventually. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't seem to convey what I wanted to say. As my vacation drew to a close, I felt increasingly restless, dreading leaving with this bitterness hanging in the air. I needed to address what was happening between us. One evening, I made a special dinner, hoping to bridge the gap. Evelyn understood I wanted to talk. I told her I didn't mind her going out with friends, but I disliked her spending entire nights partying and then sleeping the next day away. I just wanted to spend some quality time with her before I left for work in 10 days. I felt we were growing distant, and I hated it. She assured me she'd dedicate time to our relationship and put her party plans on hold until I left. I was relieved we seemed to be on the same page. We started making out, things getting heated, when she abruptly stopped me. She rummaged through a drawer, frantically searching for protection. When she couldn't find any, she asked me to get one. I was taken aback. Why? I asked. It's been 6 years of marriage, and we've talked about being ready to have a baby. Her response was like a slap in the face. Are you stupid? She snapped. I don't want to get pregnant and ruin my body because of some stupid baby. I was stunned. I reminded her that becoming a father was something I deeply desired, and asked why she'd changed her mind after we married. Her answer was cold. She didn't know. She just didn't want to ruin her body. She followed me out of the room, shouting that I couldn't force her into anything. In the hallway, I stopped and told her I wasn't forcing her, but I was angry at her language. I grabbed a condom but wasn't in the mood anymore. I lay on my side of the bed, seething. Evelyn came over and hugged me from behind, silently crying. She said she was sorry and that she was anxious about losing career opportunities if she got pregnant. I told her I was just mad at how she spoke. Though I really wanted a family with her, I figured I'd have to wait. We eventually made out and slept. Later, I woke up to a giggling sound. It startled me, and I went to check what the noise was. But I didn't see anything, so I just went back to bed. In the morning, Evelyn greeted me with kisses, in a good mood, having made breakfast. Before I could ask, she told me her cousin had drunk called her last night. I felt relieved that things had finally settled down, and we had our best moments together. I began to relax. We were still having breakfast when she got a call from Jenna. She started congratulating her. I asked what was happening, and she handed me the phone. Jenna told me she was 2 months pregnant. I asked why she hid it, and she said she didn't know. Evelyn decided to celebrate with her family. My parents were also coming, and we decided to have a small family celebration. After hearing the news of my sister's pregnancy, I felt empty because I also wanted to have a kid. I was happy for my little sister, but instead of hugging Jenna, Evelyn ran towards Max, and he embraced her tightly. It felt weird. My parents arrived, and for a while, It was a good family gathering. But Evelyn and Max were constantly chit-chatting about something I had no idea about. Jenna asked Evelyn when she was going to give us good news. Evelyn responded that she'd never dared to think about pregnancy or be stupid like Jenna, to exchange her slim body for a baby. I had never heard anything so rude. And I knew my sister didn't deserve that. My parents were shocked. Everyone looked at my sister as if she were crazy. But she just started laughing. My anger was rushing through my veins. I wanted to give Max the business. Evelyn stood up and went to sit next to Max. He placed his hands on her thighs. My rage was uncontrollable, and I asked him to be respectful to my sister, wanting to punch him, but stopping myself from causing a scene. Evelyn shot me a look and whispered that I was overreacting and that she was just joking. I was so frustrated that I went outside to calm down. Evelyn followed me, asking what was wrong. I held her arms tightly and warned her to tell Max not to touch her like that, or I'd smack his head. Even after this discussion, Evelyn didn't care to bother. And when I went inside, she cuddled up to Max again. Jenna kept asking me what was wrong, but I just told her I wasn't feeling well and had a headache. We had a huge argument after reaching home. She accused me of being an insecure man who was overreacting. I asked her if it would be fine if I grabbed another girl in front of her, and complimented how flexible she was. She said she didn't care. I told her she could do whatever she wanted. And she claimed Jenna was her friend first before her husband's. We didn't speak for days after that argument because I realized there was no point in talking to her. She was such an emotionless and inconsiderate person. I had to leave for my job. Another 6 months away. With a heavy heart, the night before I left, she apologized for her behavior. I just smiled and hugged her. But I didn't have a good feeling about it. I didn't even feel intimate with her. Not even angry. I was just restless. It's been a week since I returned to work. But I don't feel right here either. I feel my marriage is crumbling. And I can't do anything about it. Update 1, I came back home 2 weeks ago after 3 months of deployment. I'd never experienced anything like this before. And it was never like that. Even though I used to be at work for 6 months at a time. We never felt this distant from each other. Now, whether we are in the same place or away, we are just far from each other. Her behavior has become erratic. Even if I try video calling her, she is just really rude to me. She never received my call and ignored my texts. I asked her if she wanted to talk and sort things out, but she never wanted to respond. She wasn't even hiding that from me. This was the first time she was behaving this way. In my previous overseas trips, I faced it. I was not missing her. I was angry at her childish behavior. And I just wanted to teach her a lesson about her so-called elegant and rich spoiled girl behavior. I started ignoring her. 2. Because Evelyn tends to react when you treat her the same way she treats you. After 3 months, she called me and told me she was sorry for ignoring me. When I asked her what was wrong, she told me she hadn't had her period for 3 months and that she was so busy with work that she didn't even notice. I asked her if she had taken a pregnancy test. She said yes. And I asked her for the HCG blood test. I didn't understand the meaning of a test like that. Anyway, the report was supposed to come in a few hours. I was so restless and impatient that I couldn't work for the rest of the day. Evelyn was crying over the call, saying she was scared the baby would ruin her career. I wanted to convince her to keep the baby but left the decision to her. I told her not to worry and that I would be there in 10 days. I asked her what her decision was. It was due to her low blood level, as she was treated with aplastic anemia as a team. While she was still crying and worrying about everything, I was very stressed, thinking about how she could be pregnant because we always use protection. I couldn't bring myself to focus on work. I applied for emergency leave and decided to come back home as soon as possible. But it still took me more than a month to wrap up my work and return back home. I didn't inform her about the date of my return, wanting to surprise her. But upon reaching home, I was the one surprised. I saw Max sitting on our couch. He had his legs stretched out, leaning back comfortably. Evelyn was standing beside him, caressing his hair. I got so scared to see that, and my brain started making its own stories. I asked her what was Max doing there. Evelyn explained that she needed some company, as she had been feeling nauseous all day, and Max was helping her out. So she asked him to stay. His nervous laugh made my suspicions high. She came towards me and hugged me tight. I didn't look at her face but at her clothes. Evelyn thanked me for coming early and surprising her. I asked her what Max was doing there. Evelyn explained that she needed someone to talk to, and Max offered his company, claiming he was always available. Her voice was so calm that I almost believed her. But my instincts could see right through her. And I can't keep acting like a fool. He got up and said he would go and get the news of my arrival to Jenna. I asked her again if she really wanted to have a baby. She got a little offended and told me that sooner or later it was going to happen. I couldn't resist and confronted her that I found it very suspicious that we used protection every time we did. She said she had a hunch the condom was damaged, that she felt something inside her that night but didn't pay much attention to it. She got so defensive at this. She just stood up and left the room, calling me pathetic and sick for doubting her. Her behavior was adding to my fury. I was under complete stress because I knew something was off. And I was clearly not the father. I did love her a lot. But she was manipulating me. The woman who never wanted a kid got pregnant suddenly and agreed to it. Bullshit. She is still not talking to me properly. Whenever I approach, she accuses me of doubting her and calling me insecure. I really don't know how to deal with this woman. It's been a few months since I last updated. I was just busy juggling multiple bullshits together. I'll start with some good news. My sister gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. I just want to tell you guys that my niece is going to live her life without the presence of her douchebag father because Max is going to take care of Evelyn's baby. After I returned back from my trip, a week went by like this. I was in a dilemma, thinking most of the time if the baby I'm going to raise is really mine. In the middle of all this, Jenna needed to get admitted to the hospital ASAP. The next week, I was busy taking care of Jenna. Max was there, but his presence was useless as he was mostly not around her and busy somewhere else. God knows where. I wanted to talk to Jenna about my anxiety, but she was not in a state to absorb any shock. The doctor told us not to talk about anything that could trigger any stress. So I waited for the right time to talk to her about my issue. After a week, when Jenna's condition stabilized, she told me that she didn't want to meet Max and divorce him immediately. Jenna held my hands and asked me to be strong and hear her out. My heart shattered. She told me that after I left for work, Evelyn used to visit her often and it was usual for Evelyn to crash at Jenna's place, as they usually used to hang. At a point, their behavior started bothering her. So she sneaked into Max's phone one day and saw Max and Evelyn's text messages. They were just fooling around. And Evelyn even took pictures while they were sleeping. The messages were mostly talking about my sister. He even talked badly behind her back. He thought she was the most unattractive thing he had ever met, and he was just doing it for the money. He claimed that I'm his only friend. She confronted Max, and he begged her to forgive her and told her that it wouldn't happen again. I asked her why she didn't tell me about that. She said I was overseas and hence didn't want to bother me. She said that a day before I arrived, Evelyn came with flowers and stuff for Jen, but she was asleep. When she woke up, Evelyn gave her the things, but she didn't have a good feeling about it. The words she told me went deep into her mind and she was constantly in a dilemma about Evelyn's safety. She freaked out as soon as she saw me. Her condition got worse. She rushed to the hospital and within a few days a doctor gave her an abortion. I lost my mind. I hugged Jenna and yelled that I was here at that time. Why she didn't tell me anything. She said that Evelyn was pregnant and she didn't want to ruin our relationship at that time. When Jenna's condition stabilized, she had a confrontation with Max and got to know that Evelyn was actually pregnant with his baby, and that blew her mind. She wanted to call me and tell me, but due to her anxiety, she just didn't know what to do and rushed to the hospital. I don't know what else to say. My sister and I cried our hearts out together, holding each other. I couldn't imagine the pain she carried on her shoulder knowing her husband was never loyal. I didn't think any further and decided to divorce Evelyn as soon as possible. But I also wanted to beat the S out of Max. I called my father and explained everything. I asked him to start the process of getting divorce papers for me, and for Jenna as well. I also asked him to mention the full custody of Jenna's unborn to Jenna solely in the divorce. When I reached home, I saw Evelyn crying on the couch. She looked at me and said that I always wanted her to be a mother. But now when she was, I was neglecting her. I laughed and told her that I wanted her to be pregnant with my child and not Max's child. I walked towards her, and with a cold stare, told her that Jenna had told me everything. It was because of them that my sister was on the verge of losing her child. I told her that if she cared about herself, she should pray for my sister and her unborn, because if they suffered from anything, she would be miserable. Before she could say anything, I yelled at her to leave my house and that she would get the divorce papers in a few days. She started apologizing and asked me to stay and not abandon her. She also told me that Max was the one who seduced her into this, because Jenna had a complicated pregnancy and they were forbidden to have intercourse. So Max was frustrated. I felt so disgusted on hearing that I wanted to throw up. I left the house, giving her the ultimatum of a day to vacation. I stayed with Jenna for a few days, and when I came back, Evelyn was gone. Max said that he had been released from a married life. Anyway, the divorce got finalized. Even that Evelyn's father bribed me that I would never have to pay for Evelyn's baby, and that he would take care of that. He said that I just have to let Evelyn and her child live with me to save their family's name. I can only laugh at a gesture like that. So, Reddit. I'm here. Raw and exposed. I've laid bare the story of my broken marriage, my sister's devastating betrayal, and the manipulative web woven by the people I trusted most. Looking back, do you think I handled this situation correctly? Should I have seen the signs earlier? Was there anything I could have done to prevent this catastrophic collapse? I'm open to any and all opinions.